Hi. Today I want to talk about something that I've been struggling with for a while. That is, what should I do when I am losing motivation? And having thought about it for a really long time, I've sort of separated it into two components. One component is how should I stay productive whilst not being motivated? And the second component is to understand this loss of motivation and to reframe it as something good rather than something bad. I'll start with the first one. How can I be productive when I am not motivated? What I've realized is that a lot of us have a wrong relationship with motivation. We see it as something that we must have in order to be productive, when what I've realized is that we should build a system, build a set of routines, a set of things that we're about to do, where we don't have to rely on motivation in order to do them, and they are nevertheless productive, so that doing something productive becomes the default option, something that we just naturally incline to do, rather than something that we have to actively pursue through being motivated. We want to build a world where being productive is the default option, is something that we just naturally do. And some ways to build this system of productivity is to find productive hobbies, which we can go to do when we don't have any motivation. Examples of these productive hobbies include, for me at least, listening to a podcast as I go out for a walk, reading some MIT bestsellers compared to maybe more hardcore academic books, also reading some pop sci or sci-fi, just to relax and wind down when I don't really want to do anything else. And the great thing about finding these productive hobbies and to build this system of productivity is that we don't rely on motivation in order to do anything. When we're not motivated, when we're just relaxing, winding down, we are already being productive. And by finding these productive hobbies and by building this system, we are basically adjusting to the fact that it is really, really normal to lose motivation. And countering the loss of motivation becomes part of our routine rather than an emergency that we have to directly act against. And it makes long-term productivity much easier to achieve because motivation ebbs and flows. It's natural. And by removing its impact on my productivity, it becomes much easier for me to be productive a day in, day out without relying on outside factors. Outside of building these productive systems and routines to counter the loss of motivation and to stay productive even when we don't have much motivation, another really important component of combating the loss of motivation is to understand it, and by understanding it, reframe it as a positive process, and to get the most out of this loss of motivation, to see it as an opportunity rather than something to escape from. As we know, a really basic tenet of evolution is that every biological phenomenon that has persisted for a long time is likely to have a purpose, reason, and function for existing. And what we just have to do is to discover the function of that biological phenomenon. In this case, we just have to discover the function of motivation loss. And if we discover the function of motivation loss, then we can squeeze out all the value of this biological phenomenon rather than running and hiding from it. What I think the function of motivation loss is this recalibration of our goals. To lose motivation is to question what I am currently doing, and within the questioning, to recalibrate my goals and my plans and what I am to pay attention to in order for me to move better into the future. To better understand this, we can broadly divide two modes that we inhabit. One mode is this concentrating mode, and another mode is this exploring mode. In the concentrating mode, we focus deeply on a well-defined task and we finish it really quickly. Whilst in this exploring mode, we reach out to new opportunities and we try to define a task that we should concentrate in. When we say that we don't really have much motivation, we're often just in the exploring mode rather than really not having any motivation. And this is also why we feel like we have less motivation when our life has less structure and the future is more uncertain. And what we have to do then is to not escape from motivation loss, but to confront it head on. We have to see that motivation loss contains really invaluable information that we have to look at and process. For example, maybe I am pursuing the wrong tasks, or maybe I am doubting the importance of what I am currently doing, and motivation loss tells me that. And so motivation loss actually presents a really important chance for us to reflect and recalibrate. For example, maybe I'm pursuing the wrong things in life. And when I lose motivation, my body is basically telling me, hey, Warren, you're actually pursuing the wrong things. You should try to recalibrate your goals. You should try to explore and find something more meaningful to do in your life. And in this sense, then, when we're losing motivation, we don't have to escape from it. We don't even have to feel sad about it. We should be really happy that we're losing motivation. Because when we're losing motivation, we're actually improving ourselves as long as we process the information that this loss in motivation provides us. We can, for example, do more lightweight tasks, such as finding different books on Amazon, exploring university course options, or finding other potential jobs than the one that I have now. And in this way, by understanding the information motivation loss provides us, we are laying this basis for correct and productive productivity when we regain motivation, when we go into this concentrating mode. So loss in motivation is really not a bad thing. And whilst we can build systems, as I said before, to counter this loss in motivation, and for me to stay productive even when I'm not motivated, I should also understand why I am losing motivation and to really squeeze out all the information inside this loss of motivation in order for me to improve myself as much as possible. I hope this helps, and bye bye.